We'll get the show on the road.
Okay.
Thank you, Catherine.
He's got this under control.
All right, we want to get going and get out of here, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll call this meeting,
Attitude.
call a workshop for the Board of Directors to order this morning at 10:03. Confirmation of proper notice, John.
Notice posted early last week. Plenty of time for
Yes.
proper authorization.
All right. Think we can dispense with roll call for this?
Yeah.
Because I don't have it with me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
but you
walked.
could do it from memory.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You really don't need a
No.
quorum.
No,
here.
not for this. President will have comments at the board meeting. We'll review the minutes from last month at the board meeting.
There'll be two next month. One will be the organizational meeting and one will be the regular meeting.
Okay.
Hi, Marv.
And then we will have the treasurer's report for our new treasurer to review with us. Yeah?
That's you.
No, not
I'm
John.
looking at her. I'm looking at
The
her.
New
treasurer. New treasurer will go over the finance
There will be a
report.
test. Or-
Accounts receivable, John, you
We'll
want
have
to
that.
touch, is there
Right.
anything we need to touch on
No,
now?
but there would be something that could be very positive. Units with legal issues, as you know, our major one is 364. And we had a court date of 364 where the bank was challenging paying us the full amount of money that they owed because they did not attach the association to their foreclosure suit. They put a petition before the judge to allow them to reopen the foreclosure suit to add us so they wouldn't have to pay us the entire amount, but only pay us 1 year's maintenance fees. Well, they must have got religion or something like that the day before because they withdrew their motion. And so now
Ooh.
we may be in very good shape to receive all monies if and when they ever make a move on that unit.
And what's the
Okay.
total on that right now? Do you know?
About $15,000.
Cool.
What's its shape is that unit in? Have we checked it periodically?
Oh, it's been checked into. It's, you would think would be mold in there because there's no power or anything like that,
That's what I
but
worried.
everything seems to be in good order. I talked to a next door neighbor 2 days ago, and he had been in the last time someone was there, and he looked at it and he said it was okay.
Any insights to what their legal
Uh,
team is doing?
We
They don't
we
what
know
they're
they
doing?
turned they turned down $229,000 cash offer. We know that it was a reverse mortgage, and the owners who were there, the Baldwins, who both passed away, had an encumbered debt of $260,000. So, and of course, it's one of the smaller units, upstairs, downstairs. Why the bank was a nickel? We were moved for foreclosure against the bank now, and so the fees are running up, and it's just going to cost them more and more money. But if we foreclose it, we get it free and clear because they don't have a mortgage. Bank doesn't have a mortgage on itself.
Oh.
So maybe,
So
who
you're the
knows?
only lien holder, we're the only lien holder at that
That's
point.
correct.
Good.
Mhm.
So maybe it wasn't religion that chased them to the bargaining table after all.
See why. What are the attorney's fees?
Pardon?
How do the attorney's fees charged? Are they get a percentage, our attorney?
A percentage? No,
There's nothing, just a flat fee?
no, they bill us for every second that they think
That's
about
what I
this.
mean, sorry.
Yeah. I called to find out the status, and they billed us for 10 minutes.
Wow.
Very upsetting, but that's what everybody's doing
That's
today.
what they're doing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but there's no percentage on what we get back or anything like that. It all goes, and every cent that is being charged, we will get back ultimately through our suits when they become successful.
God.
That's part of the $15,000, about $4,000 worth of attorney's fees.
Have the fees already been written off?
No,
So they're in receipt, they're still like.
they're in our
receivable.
receivables.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question on something that I just heard, said there's no power. Because the bank owns it, do we have any right to put the
Oh,
power
we
in
could
our
put the
name
power, yeah, we could
and
put
turn
the,
it on?
we could put the power on, and we usually do that. However, this is one of the units where the line got fried, and it's like a $5,000 hookup, and I figured as long as they owed us that kind of money, why should we send the money out right now?
Okay.
And when we get the money, it'll be found money, we'll pay for it, we'll pay for the repairs.
Okay.
But it's one of the last ones that doesn't have a hookup.
Does that mean it has no AC?
Means it has
Right.
no AC, has no
Right.
power
Are
whatsoever.
we not worried about mold?
We've
or
been in there and looked at it. We're not as of yet.
Hopefully before the summer hits,
Yeah.
something will
Well, this will be
blow on
the,
it.
this will be
and-
the second summer.
Do we have,
Wow.
at least have damper in there or something?
There's no clothing in there or anything. I mean, we can pay to hook it up and run it if you want.
No,
We've
not for
just
that- not for
been
that price.
reticent to spend $5,000 on it
Mm-mm,
with all the
Yeah.
money out, especially when we didn't know whether we are gonna get our money back. Now
exactly.
I
Right.
think we're gonna get our money
but
back.
Let's just down the road, we take it over and we get to sell it.
Mhm.
Are we gonna pay the 5,000 then?
Oh, we'll have to. I
At
mean,
least have it.
we're gonna have to pay it sooner or later.
That's what I'm assuming, yeah.
Now, we have talked Florida Power and Light, and the last three, they've come in out of the blue and put the lines in. We don't know why, but we're not arguing with them. So we just saved $15,000.
Wow.
So that maybe there's a new administrator there, but I'm just real quiet.
Mhm.
I
That's a
just
good
let them come in
idea.
and do it.
Mhm.
Make sure
It
it
would be
doesn't
no
end up on the-
timeline,
on the
that one we
bills.
might-
Yeah,
It's
good thing to do. If they're doing it, just sit back and
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even watch, just, you know.
Yeah, stay away. Stay away. Yeah.
That might make them suspicious.
Right.
to
Just
watch.
let them do their thing. Well, that's good potential news that
Yeah.
we could get that one off the books.
Yeah, that's the only real big one we have.
Is there a concern for mold or mildew in that unit?
Yes, I think we talked about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
We've
that,
checked it twice.
Okay.
Would there
Like
be any
Santa Claus.
timeline when we might get this 15,000 and it could linger weeks or months? Okay,
There's no time. I mean,
And
it's already been almost 2 years, Dick.
yeah.
The hearing is what, the 24th?
The hearing was the 28th
The
and
28th.
they withdrew.
Oh, so there's not a
Yep.
hearing.
So there's not a hearing, so it's
So the
back.
judge just makes a determination and
The
there
judge
you go.
didn't make any determination. We still have paperwork that they owe us $15,000
Oh,
that they
okay.
challenged, but they removed their challenge.
Okay, so it's just based upon.
Right now, it's on statute. They owe us that money if and when they settle.
Are they paying the property taxes?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Well, because then the county would have a lien.
The county will sell tax certificates in the state of Florida. In other words, you could go in and buy the tax certificate and ultimately take over the unit.
Done that.
But once, there may be reticence on anybody's to buy them when they see that we have this big lien against it.
So we couldn't just do that, go and pay the taxes and take it over.
You don't have to pay the taxes to take it over,
Okay.
you know. Maybe we will ultimately when we get everything. Maybe if we own it, maybe they're gonna come after us for taxes.
Whatever's not.
But when we sell it, you know, I mean,
It'll make up for it, yeah.
the last time we took one over, which was about 7 years ago, we ended up paying the taxes and things like that. But then we got more than enough money for the unit.
Alrighty.
so we're not at risk of the county finally even taking it over for taxes.
They're second, I guess they're second in line
Okay.
or somewhere. I know that we're first in line.
Okay. All right, well, that's a good.
John, I
that's
have a
good to know.
question about that unit. That's the one that's got the air conditioner hanging out the back of the lanai.
Don't think so.
It's the one over there by pool 4, right?
It is pool 4. Is there an AC behind, hanging over the back of the line?
There's an AC out of the lanai that's, it's a window AC.
There's a little unit.
It's, pardon?
There is a little unit out of the lanai next to from the back door.
I didn't know it.
Is that legal here?
Probably not.
Then maybe that ought to be one of the conditions when this is sold, that has to go away.
Or it could go
Yeah,
away
we'll have
now.
to take it.
Can it go away now?
Nobody's looking. No, we don't own it.
We don't own it.
You can't touch it.
But don't we have a right to protect our interest and?
We'd have to look into another legal, I think we want to worry about getting our money before we
Right.
do anything
Really
else.
not worry about that,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you've got a good point.
Yeah, that ought to go away.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
part of it. Once we take it over, prepare it to sell.
That's interesting. If you said we checked on it to make sure there was no mold in there twice, nobody noticed in our conditioner.
Well, you notice it from outside, because I
I see
walk
it.
back through there all the time and it's a big weight.
Yeah, I've gone behind there, but I didn't, boy, that's interesting. I thought
It's out in that
I
courtyard.
saw everything, but,
It's one of those courtyards, it's not a courtyard, it's not enclosed,
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
can see it
yeah.
from the outside.
and it's,
Plus, it's really dense back there with foliage,
It
so
is.
it's hard to see sometimes. Because I walk back there a lot too.
And this isn't upstairs, downstairs.
It's an upstairs, downstairs.
Okay.
And I don't know why they put a separate unit back there, and it's such a small unit to start with. That's interesting.
Maybe their AC broke and they didn't want to pay the expense of replacing it.
Could be.
That's possible. Maybe the AC doesn't work.
It was too small for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that they were both
I needed
were pretty ill near the end. Good point, though. Thank you.
All right, let's move on. We've got some old business to talk about. Second floor walkway renovations.
All right, those are moving right along, and all of 5 and 6 are done. Then we're moving into 7 and 4 now, and I'll give you exact report in the manager's report.
Okay. Carport ceiling repairs.
That should be commencing this week. They had some trouble getting matching vinyl toppings. And so now that either today or tomorrow, they'll be working on those, the ones that need repair.
Okay. Pool chemical feeders that we've been talking about for several months. Any
several months.
more information?
Well, they sent us their price. We have the price of the purchase. I called back and gave a secondary price for us. We feel, as you recall, that the equipment is, they want 21,000 plus, or 21,000 plus tax. We estimate the value of the equipment at about 12,000. We also estimate it's about 5,000 to bring it up to speed, to have it 100%. So that would mean it'd be about a $17,000 investment. The new purchase is $42,000. I've called and attempted to reach the general manager of Galaxy. I said, basically, we're interested in paying. Would be interested in paying about $12,000. He hasn't gotten back to me.
Goodness.
That's been quite a long time. hasn't it?
Well, this $12,000 is only about in this time frame about 3 weeks. The other stuff's about a year.
Yeah, they were dragging their feet.
Yeah, they
giving us
own the
a price.
equipment. You know, I mean, it's
No, I remember when you
Yeah.
said you were making a counter offer.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was a long time ago.
yeah. It was just before just after the last meeting. Yes,
And they're collecting rent.
they're
Every month.
continued renting length. Yep.
Right.
Which we can stop. I mean, if we want to invest $45,000, we can stop immediately. I think the best way to go, though, would be to purchase an upgrade
Absolutely.
from them.
Okay. 2022 audit.
Okay, we'll probably have this thing put to bed near the end of April after taxes. April 15th is coming up. Our bookkeeper booked special assessments in a way that he thought it should be done. Our auditor feels it should be done in a different way, and so the audit is not complete. And the bookkeeper has agreed to go back and do it in that manner, but he asked for forgiveness till after April 15th because of as busy as they are. Our auditor has accepted the fact that they're going to do it, and they will review it. And at that time, they've filed an extension for taxes too, because they want it done right. So we're in a position of we won't owe any taxes, but we're filed an extension until the auditor is satisfied with what our financial statement is as of this time.
It's the bookkeeper that does the tax return.
No, the auditor does.
The auditor does.
Yes, yeah.
Who filed the extension? The auditor.
The auditor, I just got it. I was going to call you. I knew I'd see you, so here it is right here.
What about the page where the auditor thought that we were subject to the new condo rules?
He was wrong.
Okay, so he understood that. now?
Yeah.
Okay. New business, communication.
one
Other,
bit-
will-
Of old
Oh,
business, if
yes.
you don't mind.
go right ahead.
In light of the increasing interest in EVs, John, if you could just tell the board where that is in the association.
Basically, the building committee submitted a policy to the board, which I think they did approve, where the owners could hook it up from their connection out underground to a point in front of the unit. So far, No one has done it. I know that we have at least 2 people that are running extension cords that are covered up and put pylons around them to their vehicles. But we're not very far along our line.
Okay.
One unit, 80, wherever it is, Tommy Lee, he comes right out of the bushes and doesn't affect anybody. But the 520, 527, I think it is, does come out and run across the sidewalk where I've had to talk to them. They promised that they would not do it in such a manner anymore, but I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, we've got a policy then for the units with the parking place in front. How about those with?
Same way.
carports?
It's the same way.
thing?
I mean, the only issue we could have currently would be that if somebody in a unit where we have marked spaces wanted to put in in front of their place and their unit was not that space, that could be an issue. But we don't have that issue right now.
Are these things that they have to come to the board for?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that the board approved process, or is it just a standard process, meet these requirements?
No, they have to come in and they have to get our agreement.
Well-
It doesn't sound like a long-term solution. Would you agree with that?
Well, I don't, depending on what your solution aim is. I mean, we are giving them the right to hook up and from their own unit to do it. I mean, if the objective is to put general stations out there, it doesn't come close. No.
And nobody else wants to pay for their electricity. So, and besides, can our system handle it? Our personal little grid in here, we're already having electrical problems. So they're saying everywhere that the grids are having trouble handling all of these things.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that future owners might well be interested.
Well, you know what, then they can go somewhere where there is some, because it's
Well-
expensive.
There'll be more and more coming.
That's right.
There's no doubt about that.
And there will be. Is the building committee working on a standard operating procedure on this?
They basically set it up. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, it sounds like it's gonna work.
It was hopeful, I don't mean to interrupt,
No.
John. It was hopeful that we were going to be able to hook up to the outside where the power comes
Yes.
in. And so far, apparently either code or FP&L doesn't allow that. But the new chargers run on lower power. And so the 2 that are running now are just plugged into their wall.
That's fine unless you live upstairs. If you're
Correct.
on-
Oh, correct.
You're on a second floor, getting your power down to the parking lot is going to be an issue.
Well,
Yeah.
the grid is what I'm worried about. If
Yeah,
we
and
have 10 of those, what do we got? And let's say in cluster Oakview, put 10 units in there and it's gonna suck everything out. I don't know how we even be able to handle it.
Well, that's just it. We're not, if it comes to
But
that, we
that's,
eventually
you know,
won't.
we're projecting way out there.
We are, and
But the key thing, I think, is that the building committee, I feel like to see a firm commitment to a plan so that if I decide to get an electric car, I don't have to worry about where I'm gonna plug it in.
We will have a building committee coming on the 26th, which I'll have a conversation with the chair, who also happens to be the president of the association.
I know that.
We'll have a
Let me
conversation.
understand that. So the building committee, they'll already put in specs on how it could be installed. But are you talking about what will the association build for?
Not even about that unit, but if we have to come in for a approval for having an electric car.
Oh, if you wanted to.
Yes,
Okay.
right. I mean, it would be our expense, but exactly what is it that we can do? Now, the second floor unit, I don't have to worry about that, but that would be scary what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to buy the car and then say, oh my God, can I plug in your parking place for a while?
well, are we looking at the dangers of these electric
Well, I
vehicles? These
don't know if
batteries are
they're-
exploding and
well,
they're causing fires, and
There's,
Well, you know what? You actually need to read because they are.
They are,
Thank you
they-
for
but we have
correcting me,
gas
Pam.
cars too that are doing that. But the point is, if this is an issue, then we need to deal with it before the fact, not afterwards.
Well,
Or do we
exactly.
need to-
So we need to think about that, those
And
kinds of
is it
things.
really a true fact that it's more dangerous than a car, a gas car? And so those are some things that I'd like to know about before I go out looking for.
I've not seen a gas car
As,
explode.
as part of that policy, is the individual required to go before the building committee to get approval for what they plan on
No,
doing?
as long as they submit plans to me that match the specifications, I approve, just like a door or
Okay,
anything
but they're
else.
required to submit some kind
Yeah,
of,
doors, windows, and that
And
also.
Are
Yes.
we requesting extra insurance cover for any issues that they might cause?
Another building committee question to be answered.
At present, we're not.
Yeah.
To answer your
Uh,
question.
I mean, we should be expecting them, okay, whether there is or is not an issue with the batteries exploding or heat causing problems, is that covered? Also, our infrastructure, is our infrastructure covered? Is our buildings covered if they would have an issue with their electrical and burn the entire? They need to have extra insurance to cover, even though we have to rebuild the buildings, their insurance should have to pay for the
I think
issue.
it's a good point you got there, Tammy, but we don't, what do we do with gas cars? There's just as much. as-
Well, A gas car isn't plugged into your unit,
But it's sitting in
where-
the carport.
okay? And your insurance will cover it.
Your car
And-
insurance.
and
Your
here's
car
the-
insurance
here's the
will cover
point is that if we have a study on what we're gonna do with electric vehicles, we need to deal with the insurance, we
Mm-hmm.
need to deal with this, that, and the other. They may all be covered for us, but I'd like to do it before we get the car, not afterwards.
Exactly.
And I've got a feeling somehow or another, we're getting close to having more than one car per cluster. And that brings up another issue. The last thing I want to be is have my car and have 20 other people with a car. And sorry, John, you can't have a place too. You know, there's all kinds of projections we can look at. But we did it with the gas cars, we did it with the trucks, we can do it with this too, so.
And I suspect other associations have faced this before we have, so there's policy out there.
Right, and let's explore them. Or if there hasn't, then we have to go out there on our own and start looking there. But I like the fact that we as a board have looked at many things before the fact rather than after. And this one is coming and it'll come fast. I think by another 10 years from today, we could see a majority of electric cars.
Yep. That's the projection.
Just heard this morning, but I think it's 2035, 50% of all cars sold have to be EVs.
There you go.
Oh, man.
Wow, think about our.
They also did a survey, and almost 50% of the people, as of right now, said they would not buy an EV. So it's
Correct.
interesting. So where we're headed.
I think it's interesting too, we sit in the middle of a world of condominiums right here where we are. And all of them use electricity. And yet solar power is not being allowed to be put into any of these locations. We did the study on the community center. We talked about the new building being set up for the solar power because most of our units are electric, or we could have gone more electric. I think that's going to be a fact that we should be thinking towards. This solar power thing is a ripoff today, but one of these days it could be the way we should go because everybody needs electricity right here, and if we could sell it next door, we could pay for ours. And that's a big problem. We can't get rid of the electricity that we would have over and above what we use. And anyway, all of those things, I hope that great experts we've had on solar power will continue to help us look towards the future like that and see if there is a unit or a way we can get solar power.
Well, it'll be on the agenda of the building committee,
Good.
for sure.
We'll go
So-
see 'em.
Just, I'm considering a plug-in hybrid, and the charge takes 3.5 hours to charge them. You just plug them into a regular wall unit.
Yeah.
So if I were to buy one of those, could I run an outlet from just an extension cord
my unit out to my car right in front of my place.
Well, that's part of the issue right now, that it becomes a trip hazard unless there's some way. I mean, what the building committee has recommended is these extension cords or power lines or whatever you want should go underneath the sidewalk and up to a point right at the, where the vehicle plugs in, unless,
Yeah, trip hazard, I understand that. You
yeah.
don't want a trip hazard.
maybe we could design some function where it just comes straight out and it's covered in such a way, but then Tammy's insurance thing comes up, somebody trips on your cord, but the association hasn't told you not to. No, but I mean, you know, that we got a
Yeah.
valid discussion going here, you know.
Yeah, I was wondering, go underneath the sidewalk or what, I don't,
I think you've got one of the more excellent points that I want to get to. I don't want to see something as temporary as a cord running out. I want to see a post out there with a plug on it and an electric wire that is up to code that runs back to the unit, because this, you know, make do type of thing is what's going to kill us in the future.
Well, then, certainly it's time to enforce the two that they're currently running cords.
Well, better now than later, but the point is, I think that's what I want to talk to the building committee about. That should be something we should be thinking about now.
Why don't we put this for a little bit of discussion for Monday too? So we'll get an idea, and people have an idea what we want, and it'll be some impetus for me to start enforcing what we put into there.
Exactly.
Okay,
Good idea.
so I'll put
Good
EV,
idea.
EV.
Well, we had a guy just plug in an electric or a battery charger, and he had it across 205, had it across the sidewalk for 2 days and 2 nights.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got people that are elderly and they don't look. and
Elderly people in our area.
No kidding, right? I was concerned for a lot of these people walking along that sidewalk because they're used to just walking and.
Yeah.
And they're shuffling their
And
feet,
they're
they're not
shuffling,
picking them up.
exactly,
No.
exactly.
No.
If we put the plugs
It's a health
underneath, if we put the plugs underneath the sidewalk, that would have a ground strap to it. Would that alleviate some sort of electrical shorting or?
Ground
anything?
strap, I don't know what you mean.
Well,
They
if
have
it goes,
ground wire, it'd have to be
Condo
by
is
code.
so-
right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll have
Yeah.
to be
Well,
grounded.
part of the way you'd overcome that is require that the line be in a PCV pipe.
Oh, yeah, well,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
required too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the blueprint. It's just a matter of now enforcing it, but bringing it out because the board's never really looked at it.
John, just one question. I'm kind of ignorant about electricity. In our cluster, is there a maximum capacity that can come from the main line? And in other words, right now, we'll say we're drawing 60% of whatever. We could ultimately, with all these cars, overload whatever. Okay.
There's no doubt. Or that transformer's only going to so much in the code, and the lines are only going to carry so much. I'll defer a little bit to the architect over here, but
Well, your lines, your whole system's what they call deregulated down to you're drawing, you're not at capacity. So there's a lot of spare built into that. And typically about 80% is where you want to stay at and not go above. But if you had in a cluster, if you had say 10 cars plugged in, and that's on a 20 amp circuit,
Right.
like a single pole, that's not a lot of load.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
The possibility of overloading the line is negligible, is what I think.
well, and then the other thing is most people are going to be charging at night too.
Yeah.
So your other loads go down, you're not running things. So I don't see it as a big problem. The one thing that would probably, if we finally get to a point that we're overloading a transformer, is Florida Power and Light would have to come out and change the transformer out.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I mean, that's really the simple fix. But we got a long way to go.
Well,
I really don't see that as a big issue yet.
Most of us, or at least I'll be dead and gone before that's a
Yeah.
problem. But I just wanted to.
Where will you be
Look
playing?
at Mr. Cheerful,
I'll be
Pacola.
looking down at this whole thing.
laughing.
What you're
Give
looking
us a little
down.
help up there. A little lightning strike or something, speed us up.
So we'll add that on as a new business item, yes? John?
yes, it's on.
Yeah, okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. And right now you don't have any communications?
Well, I have one, which I'll be presenting. There'll be a couple more, but basically the picklers, the pickleball people are having some concerns about the shape of the court as far as some dead spots and some other issues. And they're concerned that we should spend more money now than wait for later to resurface it. And they've asked that, but I'm going to give it to you under communications. You can decide what you want to do with it at the meeting. Okay.
We've also asked for a couple more benches.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's coming.
And what's the status? I'll ask this now. What's the status on the fence repair? I actually ran into the fence yesterday.
We've received prices on it, and the association actually, the employees actually pulled the fence up, and so right now there's been no plan to fix it.
The fence is not pulled up.
Well, I mean, it was leaned over pretty heavily, and
It's better than it was.
It's still leaning probably 10 degrees.
yeah. Oh, I'm not saying it's not leaning, but right now that there's no plan, but we'll put that up for discussion. And as a matter of fact, yeah, I would, as a board member now, when under director comments, it would be very beneficial if you brought this up
Okay.
under director comments, and then it could be put on the agenda and get going.
What, isn't there reserve money
Oh,
for?
yeah. Oh, yeah. But I mean, the prices we got were owners. I mean, the fence people are just gone through the roof. But we had $17,000, $16,000. And so that's when we heated the posts and pulled them back and straightened them up somewhat.
And what about the cost on the courts themselves?
The courts themselves, well, I have a $3,000 repair bid for some hollow spots and things like that.
Is that just gonna give it patches?
That's what, well, last time I brought out a Welch tennis court, he said, I can do everything you want, and it's gonna look like somebody with pox or something like that. He really thought that from his opinion, the courts were not in such bad shape that we shouldn't wait until we do everything together as far as taking it off, re-scarifying it, and then redoing the base.
What's the schedule call for doing that? Because there's
It's
a
about
timeline.
About 3 years.
3 more years?
Yeah.
Because that was 3 years ago. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
There is another issue we've been looking at, and the fact that lake that is on the south side, down there by the pickleball court, is the one that always overflows and has caused some erosion problems underneath the pickleball area. And we think we've got a crushed pipe leading, because these lakes are all fed. In other words, the lake up there comes down here, comes over there, goes to this lake, goes to that lake, and goes all around into the big lake behind the 700s. It seems to us that the reason the lake there backs up is that there may be a crushing of the drain pipes to the south of this, because there's a catch basin there that stays full up for a long time until it kind of seeps out. So when we get these heavy rains, it only backs up in one place in Palm Tree, up where you used to live in that area, and it goes into that one parking lot, or one up by Monica. You know how that.
Monica's Lake?
Yes, Monica's Lake. And so we're gonna have to have somebody camera it. It's dry time now, and I'm gonna have Dave Uppelman camera it to see if we have a blockage between the lake, the south of that, to Lake 5 at the pool 5. That's where we think the issue is.
That comes first before even doing anything to it.
Well, that has to be done,
Yeah.
because if there's no if there's no blockage, then we can't figure out why it doesn't drain. So there's a good chance. Now because it's old corrugated pipe, and we've had to replace it in 3 or 4 different places already. So there's a good chance there's something there.
Yeah.
It's just collapsed. And if we get that done, then we don't worry about the backup anymore. We don't worry about the erosion, and we can fix
So
the
that's
tennis
a
court.
summertime issue in effect?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was going to be my question, was about the lake, so you covered that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the next item we're going to have to talk about is amending our operating budget. How do we?
Notice
what's the
went out.
procedure for that?
Yeah, notice went out. Statutes, easy for me to say. Statutes require notice to the owners before any action is taken. We did that with a 2-week notice. You'll receive the same paper in there with the calculations. And it's set up to not only repay the association for the insurance that it's already paid for. In other words, we had a budget of X, our expenses were Y. That also is about a 7 to 10% monies there to bring for next year in case there's prices that go up. So in other words, we're going to pay $70, roughly $70 a month on an average for the next 6 months. That buildup will still be in there in the quarter for the following year. And if that comes to pass, we may have enough throughout the whole year. It all depends on what happens. Like it's almost inconceivable that we would have another 60% increase.
Let's hope.
We
not.
can hope.
We can hope.
Yeah.
There has been correspondence back. As you know, many owners sent letters, and we had over 200 people sign the petitions. Senator Boyd, along with others, have written back, but mostly their assistants have written back saying we acknowledge we acknowledge the fact that this is happening, and we're trying to do something about it. That's what the answers have been, basically. Now, I think we talked about it a little bit. Seems to be a groundswell for a proposal that's been around for about 20 years, but the legislature seems not to want to put it on the agenda. And that is the proposal is the state of Florida takes over wind damage insurance, where you just pay into the state of Florida. It's not going to an insurance company. It's not going to state profits to shareholders. They did a study and they said if all the payments for wind damage insurance went into a fund in 2001, with all the payouts and all the grief we'd have, that fund would have over $19 billion in it today.
Whoa.
That just goes to show you how much.
Yeah.
The insurance companies are
Yeah,
making.
that shows you how
Well,
much. Yeah.
And citizens just raised their rates again.
Citizens raise their rates again. And so, there's been a group in Tampa that's been trying to put this concept on the agenda for the legislature since 2002, and they have not put it on.
Of course.
Because to the insurance company, wind damage insurance is the most profitable.
What, you
Sure.
gotta wonder where the kickbacks are going then, because obviously
Oh,
the
sure.
insurance companies are making this decision for them.
Yeah, they take the profits, okay? And you see what the CEOs and the millions of dollars of bonuses and things that they get.
Mhm.
And then when they have to pay it out, they go bankrupt.
Exactly.
They don't have to pay.
Right.
That's what's happened.
It's terrible.
So John, because this is on the agenda and I believe we're going to be voting on it, will this be a motion from the budget committee?
No, the budget committee met and felt that this was the way to go. So, but this is a motion by the board.
Okay.
So
The
this
treasurer,
is a
whoever.
budget committee recommendation
Yes.
that we need to
That we-
propose
Yeah.
at the meeting. Yes.
Okay. Just so we understand
Mhm.
the steps.
And I can make the motion if you
Just write it down for me.
want. Yeah.
Email it to her so she doesn't have to retype it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I don't know if this is under communication or not, but this is sad, in my opinion. If I can editorialize, which I probably shouldn't. Our regular pest control man, Jeremy, had been assigned for a special event for this month, so we have Josh doing it.
Mhm.
Josh is an African-American young man. He was refused entry into 15 places. this
You're
past
kidding.
Tuesday.
Wow.
No.
Mm.
Oh, my God.
He was at my place this morning. He's a wonderful young man.
He is, he's
Very
in
nice
ours,
guy.
yeah.
Great guy.
That's terrible.
So what are we gonna do about that?
Nothing we can do about it. I just want to let you know it's sad.
Oh, it's more than
Very
sad, I think it's criminal.
Then they don't get treatment.
They don't get treatments, but yeah, that's true. But that's even worse than bug spread.
How can that be publicized?
I would hope we wouldn't, but
Well,
I
I think,
guess
can these
formally,
people,
I mean, informally, we might tell people.
Let me
Yeah.
just say, can I just make a suggestion? This is, something that came up similar with utilities in the north was they weren't aware of who was coming to their door. So they had to wear picture IDs or whatever. Is it like some communique we can send out that said, we have a new on-site or new,
If he was gonna be
rep
regular,
that
yeah.
is coming
Yeah.
around to, it either could be either of these guys or
Yeah.
to let them know in advance.
Well, they do have,
I don't know
He has a
they do have
uniform.
uniforms.
Yeah.
They do have
He wears a
uniforms on.
uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, he was wearing it.
He's wearing a uniform.
Some people maybe don't like change so quickly, but giving them a heads up, I don't know.
Well, I know, it was just shocking.
That
And I
is
just
shocking.
thought,
It is,
They're
and here it is very shocking.
Very good.
Yeah, I think it's
Ignorant,
something we
right.
need to discuss, but in a more generic way. But specifically, we have many, many incidents that are written up all the time in the social networks of people wearing uniforms, whether or not they're right or wrong, but having a uniform on, this guy is not somebody that we know or seen before. I don't agree at all with what happened, but I think we should have some pre-notification that somebody's new this.
I see your point. Well, we didn't know about it till he showed up,
But the
Yeah.
company itself, maybe an ID with a picture on it or
Yeah.
something.
He's been here before. I've seen
Oh,
him.
yeah, he has been here before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had, and this is the first time, but it was just,
Depends on when he was here before, Marv,
Yeah.
because if he was
Yeah,
here when
could've been-
people aren't
well, a
here.
lot of times he was with,
Jeremy.
A lot of-
Jeremy
he came to
learning
my- I
the-
remember he
learning.
came to my place a
Yeah.
few months ago.
Right.
But if he's
Yeah,
coming in the
that's-
summertime, a lot of people aren't here
Right.
either, and so they don't.
I think it's worth an email blast.
An email
Yeah.
with pictures of who.
all right, well,
is
Jeremy will be
invited.
back. Jeremy will be
Well,
back next
I-
week,
Yeah,
so.
but that's not the answer.
No,
Well,
of course.
realistically,
No,
they have the keys, so they have to know that
Yeah.
it's been approved by.
Oh,
the
Yeah,
office.
yeah.
That's the point.
So the fact that is that from the pest control end, or has people called and complained?
No, no,
saying
no,
this
we
guy
have-
showed up and-
We get a report of what he can get into and what he
Okay,
can't.
but
enter.
nobody's called and complained about.
Nobody's
somebody
called or
showing up?
complained, but there's a number of people who wouldn't let him in
John,
that were there.
if he would have reported immediately to the office,
He
you
did.
guys have then gone out and escorted him to the place, what would you do?
That's a
More
good
of it,
question.
it's
I
not
don't know. Yeah, I
mandatory.
wasn't here when he came back with the report. I didn't see it till the next day.
I
So,
understand
yeah.
that, but I mean, if I had said you can't come in, and he had gone to you and said, wait a minute, Marv won't let me in, will you help me out here? Or something like that, what would happen?
That's a good question.
But it's not mandatory that they come in.
No, no, 'cause,
He just
most
does what he
associations don't even have inside anymore.
That's right.
It's all outside.
I do know one time, my dog was very sick, and I usually prep the place, but I decided not to have treatment done that month they were coming around. So when he came to the door, I forgot to tell the office, I don't want treatment this month, so I asked him kindly, I'm gonna pass this time. So, and that was fine,
Oh,
he went away.
That
So it's not
happens
mandatory.
occasionally.
It's only
Sometimes
one
people are
time
sick. They don't want people in. But like I say, the majority of the associations that my company managed never had inside anymore because majority of the bug prevention comes from the outside.
And
If you take care of the outside, occasionally they'll have something inside and then they come in.
And I
you know.
remember
Maybe we
when
should
we
switch to
discussed
that.
not having any more indoor years ago, and we decided, well, we'll skip every month
Well, we
and do
can
it
skip
every
the
other
third
month.
COVID.
I haven't seen anybody. No,
See
me
the
neither.
COVID thing.
And I remember-
Well, they keep on schedule that way.
Well, it's something to think about.
And
Anyway,
I
but
put holes in
there-
everything.
Oh,
And
it's just heartbreaking.
We, when I first came here, they were going inside every month.
And I had to come back
And we
and
cut it
go,
back to
"We're
half a
there."
month and we had
I had to
every other month
that she
and we
touched.
got some real negatives from that.
Yeah.
But maybe there's enough change where people understand that the real prevention is on the outside.
And if you have a special issue like the ghost dance
Well, that's
inside,
something
then they'll
else.
come anyway.
So if we eliminate doing interior except on an as-needed basis, does that reduce the cost?
Might,
I think we
it
should
might, of
look
course,
into that.
we have the
But-
same price,
But
price the last
do
4
they
years,
do
so
the
it's, I
entire
don't want to push that
perimeter?
too much.
Yeah.
Well, it should in theory be half, right?
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
out even months or something.
We could talk about it.
That's not gonna happen.
We could talk about it.
I think we should.
Finally, under one other thing, under information or communication, I guess, just put slot somewhere else. Tomorrow, Cynthia Vogel will be joining us as a replacement for Maggie. And she's going to work 3 weeks with Maggie. As you all know, that Maggie's going to be going back up to Tennessee in May.
Cynthia is her name? Did you say?
Cynthia Vogel.
Cynthia
Can you give us some background?
I can. She's a bookkeeper with a PAR. She's responsible for initiating and directing client communications. She has professional summary, data management experience, professional, successful in utilizing multiple applications, optimizing reporting capabilities to ensure data integrity with strong communication and technological skills, account management, providing support to senior level executives and directors, office management, outstanding organizational and problem-solving abilities, employment history primarily with direction and leadership in the moving and storage business, but she currently is working as head of the gardening department for one of the Lowe's stores. Moved here recently from up north.
Any experience with condo associations?
No experience with condo associations, but very similar type work with moving and storage as far as fees and collections and things like that.
How about cranky old people?
Good luck.
We don't have-
Let me just say this, she lives in Bradenton.
Oh, there you
So
go.
she's been here a while. She
Yeah.
knows the fashion.
Now,
knows
what's
the-
you said PAR? What's a PAR? You under her
Or did I?
you do-
She's a
AP, no,
bookkeeper.
accounts receivable accounts, APAR.
Oh, AP.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And tomorrow she'll be here,
I asked Maggie yesterday, said her last day was like May 1st.
something like that. Maggie has one more treatment for her illness, and then they can't treat her anymore.
Should we do something else? Or would we-
I took Maggie out for lunch the other day. Something would be nice. I don't know what it would be, but something I thought we got another month to think about it.
Do you know exactly when she's leaving to go up north?
Well, she was, all intentions were May 3rd,
Uh-huh.
but now her kids told her that they can't move her until August. So she'll be in the
Oh,
area.
she will be.
She will be in the area, and she will be available if we need help, depending on her health.
And so we could plan like a little open house in here, could we?
Sure.
I think that would be a nice idea.
Be
If
very
you want to
nice.
work with, somebody wants to work with me, I'll help do that.
I thought that.
You too?
Be very nice, I'm sure.
Okay.
Well appreciated.
Last thing on the current agenda is the coyote issues. You want to talk about those, or how are we going to address that? I know that a lot of nice stuff has been sent out. Thank you.
Is there a picture of them in here?
And we're not talking about older women going after young men. Now we're talking about Shannon.
Aren't those cougars?
Yeah, those are
I know, but you know, Shannon, he gets a little confused.
No, they're called coyotes. They're called coyotes.
Yeah.
In some
Shall we
places.
howl together?
I had a picture of him. Yeah, he came right across by the banyan tree by the T, and he's got fleas because he stopped a couple times by the, yeah.
Well, of course they've got fleas.
Oh,
But they're not going to have
Picture
fleas.
of the ones we
They
have.
don't get their heart.
Yeah, they went up there where the
Flea
homeless lived and they got fleas.
Yeah.
They're gonna sue. Yeah, I got a couple pictures of him.
Oh, there he is. He's a cute
But
guy.
he's a dark one. The other one
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah,
were
absolutely.
light. Yes, yeah, this one is dark and,
Yeah. We've seen him on the roadway.
Yeah.
Walking down the
He's
boulevard.
he's over by your house.
Yeah,
Haven't
lunch-
you seen him in the
lunchtime, I've
meadow?
seen him.
All the time.
Yeah,
It's my
almost, you can
impression
see him almost
that the
anytime. It's
smaller
surprising
darker
throughout
one
during
is
the
the
day.
female, and the larger gray one is the
They
male,
seem to
and they're
hunt
bonded
right at
pair.
dusk.
Yeah.
Well, this
That's
was
when I'm
during the
more
middle of the
careful.
day.
Sounds pretty
That was at
romantic.
3 o'clock in the
Yeah.
afternoon, and he didn't care less that I was taking his picture. He could have smiled, dang it.
Yeah, here they are together.
You got them together?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, there is.
Oh,
I
pass
see
that
them.
around.
Oh, that's
Oh,
at the end of
They're
our.
not
Feeding them.
metal.
Are you
Yeah.
feeding them over there, Tammy?
What?
Are you
That's-
feeding them over there?
No, but
that's
my
amazing.
bird knows how to bark like them.
There's
Yeah.
a family in there.
Are they eating the cats?
So my bird
The dark
barks,
ones?
meows,
The dark ones, the
and
dogs?
and acts like
They're
a dog.
quiet until recently.
Yeah, she is much smaller than the other one.
Was it
The next thing on the agenda will be the electrical vehicle issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
The what?
Electrical
EV
vehicle
issue.
issue will be
Oh,
after
okay.
Mr.
I have
Coyote.
a question. Have you spoken to any of the family from 223 back unit they were renting for years?
Oh, she's in my office every day.
Okay, so you know that there's more.
Oh, disaster, yeah. They got a mold report. They spent $600 for what they didn't have to spend.
Well, because poor Lois that lives there, they broke their lease because they can't live in, couldn't live in that mold anymore. She's worried about that. I said, Lois, you shouldn't have a problem.
It was mold because they covered up all of the people who rented taped up all the returns, so no air conditioning could get in.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, it's a disaster what they did in there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. They sealed the back where doors can't open. Oh, it's a terrible thing.
Where's this job?
222,
223.
223.
Why would they do that?
We don't know, but the lady's just beside herself because she and her husband have had that unit for years and years and years, and he passed away. He ran it as a rental. He passed away in January, and these people said they're going to move out, and so the lady went over there and found that all the AC ducts have been taped up, all the rear doors were sealed with caulking, and the place is nothing but mold and mildew.
Ooh.
Bad
I had no
disaster.
idea that was going on in there. My
Yeah,
goodness.
she's been in my office every morning, just pouring her heart. She just feels terrible, and I think she's going to just dump it. Because there could be so much repair in there. She has no mortgage. She says maybe I should just. Debbie has it for sale, so maybe they'll just dump it for somebody who wants to fix her up.
Does it have to be remediated first?
Oh yeah.
I mean, do we have to do that?
No, we don't do that. They do that.
It doesn't have to be, if they pay cash, there's no mortgage involved. And
That's
you
right.
don't have to remediate any mold.
No, I understand. No, but if anybody wants to live in there, they have to remediate it.
I'm sure.
And we're going to have a pretty healthy expense in there because we have to replace all the drywall. And if they tear it all out like they did the 715, it's going to be $4,000 or $5,000 association expense.
So there could be damage to the drywall that we're going to be
Oh,
responsible
there
for.
will be damage to the
Yeah.
drywall because they found mold and mildew inside of it.
Okay.
Oh, my.
What unit number was that again?
223. Right next to Debbie and Larry.
No, you would one away. They're 221.
Okay.
About two, yeah.
Okay.
Are you thinking of doing an email blast to announce the new office assistant Cynthia?
We can. I want to get her trained to make sure she's going to be here for a while.
That's a good idea.
You know, everybody looks good until they get here. And the most important part, she seems to have an outgoing personality that, you need in a job like that. She seems to be able to work with people.
I said, does she do cranky old people?
Is there anything else from your manager report that you want to share now?
None at present, sir.
Okay. We'll ask for committee reports at the meeting on Monday. Any directors want to add anything more to the agenda? Monica, welcome back.
Yes. While I was gone for the last 2017, I need a new washer. And since then, my dryer has not worked. So that's 6 years. It takes three cycles to dry towels. So I did call the office to make sure that the link shaft
Yep.
was clean. They came out and they said they cleaned the link shaft. Well, before I ordered the dryer, I had people staying there, friends of mine. I said, measure the dryer, make sure I get the right size. They called me back and said, you probably don't need a new dryer because your link shaft is totally full.
Really?
Totally full. It took two guys a couple of hours to clean it out. And I guess the saving grace is because it's a fire hazard, that because of the moisture going from the towels constantly into the lint shaft, the lint was wet. My dryer runs like a charm. It takes 60 minutes to do my towels, which I haven't had done in 6 years. So I just want to make sure that our lint, he said there's a problem with the shaft. It either narrows from the bottom or it narrows at the top. So the stuff does not go out properly. Yeah.
Okay, then we should put as a emphasis that the people have their dryer vents clean.
How about
The state statute says that any utility servicing a single unit, it's the owner's responsibility to maintain.
How about every 2 years they should,
We probably, but they should put something in because it could be a fire hazard, no
Yes,
question
it
about
is.
it.
fireplaces and dryer vents.
Let's put that on the agenda.
Another,
Okay.
another
What do they do,
blast.
vacuum it out? Or something?
No, they
Note on the
took,
blast.
what do you call it?
Suction.
No, the
Oh,
coat
rake?
hangers,
The coat hanger?
coat
Oh.
hangers. They
And
just,
fold it down?
it just, they said I had a whole garbage bag full.
Oh my God, you're lucky you didn't have a fire.
I know.
It only costs $10 to clean them. I mean, when I had my ducts cleaned, they said, do you want us to clean your, what do we call that thing? The
Dryer
liquid.
vent.
And they said for $10. So I was like, sure. But now I have a ventless dryer that I don't have to worry
Well,
about
my
it
thing
anymore.
was, I thought the association was responsible for the shaft.
Oh.
So I never, you
I
know,
never assumed they did.
so I said, I'm gonna get a brand new dryer and get rid of this problem. And they said, no, you don't need it.
Glad you brought it up.
That's good.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Going
Okay.
away.
Glad you brought it up, Monica. Thank you.
So when we talk about that, do we need to consider notification to the office?
Yeah.
Because if we require going on the roof,
You
you
may
take the
want-
cap off.
You may want to refer that issue to the building committee for their review after the meeting and have a policy set and then bring back to you in May.
I think
Is that
that's
because
some-
you have somebody above you? Oh, I'm sorry. That yours goes up to the roof?
Mine goes to the roof and goes up through 2 floors.
Are you in a villa?
No.
Oh, okay.
Your dryer vent does?
Oh, yeah. Goes into the wall behind the dryer and goes all the way to the roof.
Yeah.
That's the way ours.
And I know
That's the
that
way
Jim
they
has been
all
over
are.
and cleaned it out up at the
Mine goes
top,
directly outside.
but I don't know if he's
Yeah.
sucking anything out of the
Are
pipe.
you a villa or?
I'm on the-
I'm gonna have to check that.
So it goes into the wall and it makes a 90-degree elbow and
Yes. And
all the
goes
way up
straight
through 2
Mine
floors
does the same thing.
Oh, so yours vents on the roof.
on the roof.
Ours vents on the patio.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
ours.
You're a second floor.
Villas, most of them.
This was the first, I'm in Pinehurst, which was the first one built.
Ah.
Oh, nice.
I used to be,
Nice.
I used to be there and I would have the same kinds of issues.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you gotta pull the dryer out, gotta pull all that equipment out of the space to get to where that pipe goes into the wall. And as soon as it goes in, it has a 90-degree elbow.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Well, we made
Are
ours
you
bigger.
feeling better?
Okay.
So, yeah, and it's an issue if they have to go on the roof.
Yeah.
Because there's a cap up there. And I know when Jim did ours, he came to look at it last year and he took that cover off. And up at the top where the cover was, it was filled with lint and he cleaned it all out. But I don't know if he ran anything down through the pipe or not. I don't
But
know.
we're not equipped to do
To
it.
do that.
I know.
Yeah, there's what they call the chimney
The chim-
chase.
yes.
Yeah.
Is there a company that deals with
Yes,
that kind
there
of?
is a
Yeah,
I
there-
asked
there's
because we
several.
have the
Yeah,
same
we had it
issue.
done once since we moved in.
Yeah,
I'll
there's-
talk with you
You
about
go
But I
online,
don't
just
remember
say
who did it. That was like the second year we were here.
What they call them, chimney
Chimney sweeps.
chimney sweeps.
Yeah, because we have the same issue.
And there are companies that do it, but it's not $10.
Well, I mean, whatever it is, you gotta do it, yeah.
Well, she had vents
Yeah, if
cleaned
it's
anyway.
vent through the wall, that's a different story.
Well, it still
Yeah.
needs to be cleaned.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Usually you can just pull it out
You know,
from
we do
outside.
That's such a short run.
If you have a short run, but not when it's going 2
Yeah,
floors.
well, no, not yours, but like ours.
Okay.
We
All
have
right,
done
another
that.
good thing for the building committee. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
It wouldn't come out.
What else, directors? Anything?
I do. I was at the Community Association Day that was held 2 weeks ago over at the Bradenton Convention Center. If anybody, I mean, it's open to all the association owners and boards, of course. and the cams, but there were a wealth of information. So two things interesting that I saw there, vendors there. One is about electronic voting. And I know it's always an issue when it comes to the annual meeting about getting the proxies in. So for future reference, something that we want to think about down the road. That's one thing. The other thing was another vendor specializes in putting in the dog waste bag stations, and/or with or without the basket itself, which we probably don't want to get into, but that's another thing. And of course, where would we be putting them? But that's an option we could look into, since we do have a continuing problem with dog waste not being picked up. I mean, hopefully the reason might be because all of a sudden they realize they don't have bags. That's happened to me. That's
How
happened to
about
me.
the guy who picks it up and then he just throws his full bag somewhere along the way?
Oh my.
It was black bags for a while.
So I can leave these with you, John.
Sure.
I mean, it's
Thank you.
some issues we've had.
Thank you.
To help with those issues.
There is a dog station up at the end of the street, you know,
Excuse me?
by the
By
veterinarian.
the vet, yeah, by the vet.
I take care
But
of.
that's the vet stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I thought
There's plenty
maybe
of people that
something
don't.
more, at the
Yeah,
center
throughout.
of Wildwood Springs,
Yeah,
wherever the
or-
biggest issue
yeah.
is.
I know, Coyote,
Okay, good thought.
you know.
Well, we do have issues.
Might be a
Who's
small
putting up after the
ongoing,
coyotes?
We have
cost
one
for
issue in
refilling the
Pinehurst and we
bags.
have one issue by you.
Jobs are you?
Just trying to get everybody,
Well, 'cause there's
the
still
folks that are on the
What-
phone
you know
can't
what?
hear.
Where's your?
Well, I said that
Yeah,
when I've heard it.
Oh, it was bad. I mean,
Yeah.
and that seems so
Well, that's what it
far
used to
away.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
Still
That's what I did in the
They're lazy,
beginning.
they don't want
We have
them.
marked,
I thought maybe
somebody
we
marked
took
a
the ice or
Tony
something.
Hey,
Lowe's.
folks, let's just have one person talk. We do have people on Zoom that can't hear. Okay. Is that it, Barb? Go ahead.
Thank you.
I had a question about, I think it's unit 718.
Mhm.
That's now, potentially vacant unit.
Well, they've taken some stuff out, but it's also, it's also under foreclosure.
So you don't know if they actually moved completely.
No, I just knew they were in there and cleaned it out because it was pretty bad shape.
Sometimes we see them come back and carry out another box.
Yeah. The only thing I know about it is that that Steve and I had to attend a court session for mediation as they tried to get us to mediate some of the attorney's bills and things like
Oh,
that.
that one.
Yeah.
I was on that meeting.
You were, that's right. That's right. You came in for Steve. That's right. So there's some other additional court proceedings, but right now we're moving against them for collection purposes.
For the third time.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Also had a question about the newsletter that went out. It stated in there, I don't remember which section, if it was Steve's president's update, but it talked about where we passed the thing about being able to borrow from the reserves. Yeah, it's in the.
It must be Steve's.
Yeah. It's kind of misleading because to me, it reads as if we can take from the reserves. It doesn't say we have to pay it back.
Ooh.
Number one, we can't take.
Okay.
Number one,
I know, but
I think it's
it's
that paragraph.
misleading in there to
Because
me.
if you take it from the reserves, you have to pay back.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't take it
It
from where you
wasn't
are,
clear
so-
enough to me, so I just wanted to point that out.
Well,
Was it-
basically, he's saying that he took the money from the reserves and invested it.
No, there's another part it talks
In
about.
December, the board voted to take $1 million out of a reserve fund to buy 4 CDs.
No, there's another blip in there. It's somewhere in the newsletter, and I'm sorry, I didn't bring my copy of it with me today.
Okay. Well, obviously, we don't want to get anybody thinking, but there's no thought, there's no way we can.
No, but I can reprint it if there's an error in here.
Was it where the comments
not-
were made about using the
it's a-
interest?
It's at the bottom of that. It says that money can be allocated towards the operating budget to help offset expenses such as our skyrocketing insurance.
Yeah,
That's just the
That was
That was the
interest.
comment about the interest.
I know,
That's the
but
interest.
It doesn't.
But that has to be with the
That's-
owner's vote.
right.
Yeah, no, you're right there.
It's just a little misleading.
It
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
Because
it is.
we didn't have that owner's vote yet.
Yeah, no.
Not only that, but
Well, should we, before she prints any more copies? should
I think we
reword
should
that?
fix that, yeah. Because that was the same issue, was very confusing on the vote, on the
Yeah.
ballot to vote for it.
Yeah, and we took it off the
And
ballot.
we took it off the ballot,
Right.
but now there it appears
It can.
again, yeah, so,
Two words
Okay.
is real.
yeah,
It's a quick
clarification.
fix,
Good,
Okay.
good catch,
Quick
Gus.
fix.
I
Did you
think,
change it online as well? Because I read it online. never
Yeah, I did
saw
too.
a copy.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Also,
Is Chris on?
No,
No, Catherine.
Catherine,
as far as the,
Yeah, no, Chris is gone today.
Okay.
as far as the CDs are concerned, I'd like to see as a regular part of the accounting report,
I gotta go.
a list of the CDs, date, deal, when they're due, so that we've got, that we can see the ladder in effect and an ongoing change.
No,
Yeah, that should be easy to do.
I already have it.
But, yeah,
You have it.
new,
Yeah.
Go around.
good point.
Barb set that up with, just because of your previous strike.
Yeah.
That question about.
I set it up because I test the interest calculation that we're getting and based on that, how much is getting for the year, pretty good shape.
Yeah, well, whatever,
Sometimes
just so we can see when everything comes due, because that's the
I'm
next
going to
decision.
try, I'm going to try.
Our owner that's visiting today, do you have any further comments? Anything else you'd like to say to us today?
Tomorrow morning, I'm going to park sideways.
Davis?
Davis, your turn.
Would you like to say anything more? Have any more questions? Questions or comments?
Are there numbers on
No,
those?
thank you.
Okay,
I have something else.
Go ahead.
I read, didn't pick up that part of it, but I read the newsletter, I think it was last night, it came out yesterday. I thought it was terrific.
Well done.
So
Yeah,
I
well-
think- I think there's kudos to all the people that do all that stuff, because it's such an improvement over the way. it used to
Way
be.
to go, Barbara.
very good.
Thanks for the contributors.
Yeah, there was a lot in there. I read it last night too.
We got,
Yeah.
we got a lot of advertising, it keeps growing. This is
Yeah.
our third
I
edition.
deposited the money yesterday, by the way.
We collected
Very good.
$685.
It was well done.
Advertising.
We're gonna turn you into a conference center.
Anything further? If not, we'll adjourn till Monday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Monday's meeting?
Thank you, Shannon.
What's the-
The dog waste man.
Sure, under director.
Yes, I should have
Yeah.
read it.
You want it back?
Okay.